In we go into our second best of two of this overall best of 9 WTL versus the world. I'll again just quickly explain. No game sounds because we're casting off the Chinese feed. Not a clean feed. Initially, they were not going to allow us to cast this event, and then we were told we could restream the Chinese stream, and then in the end, they at least provided us a direct feed of the Chinese stream. So it's a direct feed, so the quality is okay, but it's still no sounds because otherwise you have the Chinese commentary going on. So welcome, and that's why we've got no game sounds today, just so you guys are aware, because people will keep on asking, and just in case I upload this to YouTube separately or something, it's always good to be able to say that. HeroMarine is in the bottom left, and Rogue is in the upper right as we get ready for this this matchup. Rogue in a different room to you. Is HeroMarine also in a different room to usually? I feel like everyone's in different rooms to what they usually, and Rogue usually plays with a bed behind him. Just going to be getting this set up then as our hatch gas and soon-to-be pool gets going. And we'll see what HeroMarine brings to the battle here today to try and take down Rogue. Kind of an interesting one. I really am intrigued as to whether he can get it done. Obviously, Team World start off in the best way possible by getting Rain Order 2-0 trap. Of course, if you're wondering about the other matchups as well, it still is going to come up here today. It is going to be from Rogue HeroMarine to Time Showtime, and then Maru Serral will be maps 7 and 8 of this overall best of 9 that Team World lead 2-0 in. SCV heading across the upper right hand side and going to investigate initially. Paper heading up through the center as well is actually going to come by the SCV, and obviously just going to take its place and kind of keeping track of what's going on, keeping a little bit of scouting going here, and just keeping that going in general. So that's the plan at the moment. As the Reaper shows up, Ling's going to start taking a couple shots of damage and take a few hits, and otherwise we'll just be seeing the Reaper actually needs to be careful. Now he gets surrounded here, these Lings going for it. Queen going to get a few shots off, not one more though, right? That Reaper is indeed going to survive, but my goodness, that almost got a little bit scary there for a few moments, right? That almost could have been something much worse. I got a little bit worried, not gonna lie. Factory lifts off. It can go to a reactor here shortly and get into our Hellion production for the early game, as we obviously expect. Well, there's nothing too weird about TVZ. It's still a good old matchup that we know and love. Don't need to do too much crazy explaining of it or anything, right? As our starboard comes in, and this Marine just still patrolling out on the edge of the base from HeroMarine as well. It's just on a bit of a patrol, keeping up with what's going on. Our link speed about halfway done at the moment in Hellions in production from HeroMarine too. Reaper just out the front and just going to be seeing our starport. Going to swap on over to the tech lab here. Means you can go into Banshees if that's what you so wish to do. If that's what you so wish to go into Banshees, or you have the option to build a Raven if you're really feeling kind of wild. HeroMarine has done a Raven build here and there, so it's a possibility. And he's saving gas. I think he's going Raven. Yeah, he's going to crank the Raven out here. So a little bit different, a little bit of a different style of play. And that's how we get this up and running, as we have a 3cc morphing into an orbital. The idea of the Raven, usually you go like about 10 Hellions, and with 10 Hellions, you get fairly aggressive around the map. You kind of trade with Queens a little bit. The Raven can drop auto turrets to help those trades. And obviously you do have that Raven for detection, so it can help to clean up creep. That's, funnily enough, not one of the... It's definitely a helping hand, but to me, it's not one of the major reasons you play the Raven. I know that sounds weird when it's like, well, it's literally giving you detection. Why would it not be one of the reasons? But, like I say, just kind of one of the oddities in how the... and how the matchup works almost. It's like, you don't actually end up in position to deny the creep a lot of the time with that Raven, like past the active tumors anyway. Unless you're really diving forward. But that actually becomes dangerous, because if Queens are nearby, that Raven gets targeted. You don't want to lose your initial 200 gas investment super early in the game, so you don't want to risk it in that sort of regard. Definitely makes for some interesting scenarios. It's going to get a little bit more creep out over on the side here. The Queen's still up on that high ground. And we actually auto turret down an Overlord of all things. So going to get that kill and just going to pick away at Rogue, who is going to get... He gets close to being supply blocked from that. He's not going to be completely supply blocked, but takes a step toward it. A few Marines get some damage done. Hellions and a Raven out into the center. It's going to be continuing to look for opportunities. And like I said, these Queens continue to just zone as best as they can. Rogue taking a step towards his 4th base already. He's going to opt to play into his melee upgrades. We are just going to see a pretty standard Ling Bane style here from Rogue as well. Nothing too weird about that. So in that regard, we're seeing a good amount of normal still coming through. And the Raven are back onto the map. I mean, they never really left the map, but they did pull back a little bit, right? They pulled back down towards the Terran side for just a few short moments. Aliens all the way to that right-hand side. Creep spread. Gets 2 of the Kumas. Now he will get a couple more. So again, benefit of the Raven not having to scan. It is coming into use a little bit here. You are getting some creep. He's going to rotate back around here. And the Queens aren't here. So the Raven will get a few more creep tumors. Now he's actually finding some good openings here, HeroMarine. He's definitely finding some good opportunities. I didn't think Rogue was going to leave as many openings as that. Definitely a little bit of a mistake on Rogue's end. As Overlord goes down as well, another auto turret connects nicely, and another big play. We're actually going to get another Overlord, so it's going to be triple Overlord kills now. Rogue is just continuing to have to rebuild as we see the first drop of the game going to head into the main base. Lings are coming in here. They are going to have melee upgrades as the Marines are very close to having their own upgrades. And that just means you got to lift up and get out. There's no reason to stick around in that situation. It's only going to go badly for you if you try and stick around too long when you're uninvited. Raven coming forward, and the, again, couple of creep tumors going down. He's keeping the creep very well contained. I'm genuinely surprised that he's been able to do so well on that, and like I say, a lot of it I feel like is Rogue not being as active, or as... He's been active with the Queens, but he's not being able to keep them in the right positions a lot of the time. That was a group of Marines going down, I think that we didn't get to see properly, so that's a bit of a factor here. The Lings, oh, they do set off a Widow Mine. That one Ling just didn't die, so that mine goes off and does splash for a little bit of friendly fire there, so a little bit frustrating for a few moments as counterattack is not doing much just yet. SCVs are blocking on the left-hand side, so the Marines can get down here. A few Banes waddling over. Bane speed about to complete as the Marines trying to kite away. Gonna have to lift up here. HeroMarine is trading well as long as he can maintain SCVs at the moment. He actually does have a supply lead. He just needs to keep doing what he's doing. 12 workers down. Last few Lings dying. HeroMarine down by about 16 workers. That's fine. He's up almost 30 army supply and begins to move across the map again. Hydroden coming up from Rogue, but not ready yet, so it's a while until we see that come into play. A couple of burrowed Balins, I suppose, just got some kills there. HeroMarine still has the Hellions as Hellbats. They will still tank going into this next fight. That will be a factor as HeroMarine comes across. Creep spread being denied. Raven going up ahead. Auto turret drops down pretty much right away, and these few Balins being picked off. Raven is now dead, so that's it. End of the Raven. As we do see these Marines continue to kite backwards. Oh, just has to lift up into the medevacs. And Rogue, for the moment, is going to hold HeroMarine off and going to slow down this progress. He's going to dampen the momentum for sure. And now he's going to take the chance to drop down that Lurker den as well. And oh, we still need Hive, though, right, Rogue? If we don't get Hive, these Lurkers aren't exactly brilliant without their upgrades. So that's going to remain to be a question, as Rogue at the moment is running across the map like he believes he can run in and maybe do some damage. We'll see if that's true very soon. Things all the way up to the top. Just going to see a Widow Mine unload. So HeroMarine just not going for that there. Probably maybe just decided it was going to die anyway, so it's rather try and wiggle his way out of trouble than anything else. Oh no, oh no, the burrowed Balins! Oh, Rogue got that just a moment too late. Doesn't quite find the opportunity just yet, but obviously the chance was there, right? So you have to be kind of careful about this continuing onwards. That's something you're going to have to be really careful about, is you have Marines going around the left-hand side. On the right side, these Marines trade nicely with just Zerglings. They will do very well on that trade, so trading well, and more Lings looking to keep on counter-attacking. big run by across to the bottom side of the map. HeroMarine's got 2 different points of pressure going on. Widowmine's helping a lot initially, and units already responding as the counterattack hits, so been well handled so far. There's a Baneling there that's left, but he actually is able to deal with it decently. Here comes the rest of the Banelings. The attack on the right side cleaned up, and these Widow Mines. Oh my god, he's gonna get everything! He's gonna blow it all up! The Widow Mines in the center there just got a huge amount of units! Rogue didn't know where to go. He saw the first Widow Mine, and he stumbled, and he was like, wait, where do I want to be, actually? And then he moved in a different direction, which let the other Widow Mine go off. Massive Widow Mine connection. Absolutely huge. Wow. That's massive. Widowmine's going off here as well as the Liberator set up this position. HeroMarine takes a supply lead. Team World looking to get a 3-0 lead in this. Oh my goodness, Rogue's too busy to deal, to get the Baneling shots off once again. As these Libs are actually putting in work on the Queens. More Libs sieging up. Can they actually fight this? Marines are going to run up the ramp to try and help out. I mean, there's a lot of damage going out, and these Queens are taking some heavy hits. Bio just kiting on the low ground. Widowmines are connecting, and Rogue supply is still struggling heavily at the moment. This is going to be seeing the push forward continuing. And a couple more Widow Mines trying to burrow up. Well, okay, one of them gets to go off. A lot of them just died while burrowing. Marauders trying to tank at the front, and just going to be seeing the rest of this army still pushing through. Hive about to be done. We can start progressing into Lurker upgrades if given the chance. And then you might actually see some Lurkers brought onto the map as well. So definitely some bits and pieces to think about here. And some possibilities at the moment of what is potentially going to keep on happening. Still those Banelings. We've been going back to them multiple times. I feel like those are the Banelings you watch like so many different times, and the one time you don't watch them, they actually blow up on something. Here we're going to slow it down and just drop a little bit. I say slow it down, I guess. Stop the full-on attacks. Like I say, drop into that right-hand side instead, so mixing it up a little bit instead as SCVs move out into the center. And just going to be having the Medivacs Bioforce out to the left-hand side. They're going to stim up to the top corner as well, so away they go. On the right side, we're going to find a couple of Banelings, Hydras as well, and we do just lift up over here. I like this little drop, actually. It's going to go pretty nicely just in the main base. And that's just kind of far away for Rogue to run back to deal with. Counterattack going to find a lot of units over here. One of mine's finally burrowing up, and they do okay. Going to kill off the rest of these as reinforcing Banelings show up to this position as well. HeroMarine is still in a supply lead in this point of the game, so still holding that advantage. 8 Lurkers on the way up, though. If Rogue has survived up to these Lurkers, can he now put them to use, and can he now change how this game is going with these Lurkers? Is that a possibility, or is this just too far gone? Marines and Marauders still just coming through, and a few more Zerglings just going to be fighting. The Lings trade very well in lower numbers, especially against the Marauders, but they obviously just don't trade well when extra units start showing up at that sort of situation, so gotta be careful about that. Zerglings still running on the right-hand side. The first Lurker showing up. HeroMarine starts up 2 more factories, so he's going to try and increase the tank count in this. His 5th base in some trouble here, as he will have to run these SCVs away. Liberator is showing up as well, and still just seeing, of course, the Lurker production continuing. A few Overseers going to be caught there. A lot of Marauders in this army, I feel like. Am I crazy? I feel like I'm seeing like so many Marauders in amongst this. SCVs transfer over, and just going to see a scan out the left-hand side as well. Bio army back to the middle of the map. That looks like a big drop in the main base. Just really trying to work his way around the Lurkers. And just trying to attack places where the Lurkers are not. 7 SCVs going down to a counter. Drone's starting to die off over here. We've got the Liberator sent up. No! No! Abandon ship. Do not commit into that. I just did not want that to happen at all. My goodness. Not only the Lurkers on the top, but then the ones on the right side showed up as well. If that was already, that was already going to be a disaster, and then it was going to double down on just how disastrous it could be. You have the Liberators as well. Just use those to push forward into this position. There's no anti-air there. He could have just done that a lot more slowly. That was a scary unit. Scary moment. I'm just watching, sorry. Brain will complain about broken units in the Twitch chat. Yeah, scary moment there for HeroMarine diving forward of his own accord as well. Like I say, it wasn't like he was forced to. He just sort of believed he could. And it wasn't quite Maru-esque either, where he was like, oh, now I'm just going to split my units across the board. The splash damage is going to be spread out. And all of that goodness, as we see Zerglings taking a chunk of damage. The Lings do get chased away. Two more SCVs going down. Every time you've seen SCVs die, though, it's not like you're losing like 20 at once or anything, right? It's just going to be like a small handful of workers that drop off. So I think that's got to be mentioned, because while you do see SCVs dying frequently, HeroMarine's never going down to like 40 or 50 workers. He's always still 60 plus, 65 plus, 70 when he rebuilds. And I think that's important because it means his economy is at a pretty steady point in time, pretty steady pacing. Still a lot of tanks, by the way, so this is looking as though HeroMarine does not want to play a ghost style. Just wants to keep playing the siege tanks here against this kind of Hydra Lurker force. Well, Hydra's on the left side, you're going to try and chase down a medevac that I assume was wouldn't mind dropping or just left over from before. Just going to be seeing our army of Rogue in the top left, then again, just kind of chasing bits and pieces around. We do see on the right side these Lurkers hold positioning. HeroMarine will need a scan to deal with these quickly. Oh my god, they're going to line up the units, aren't they? Ah, do something, do anything. Lurkers are going to hold position nicely then. That's actually going to shut down that attack already. Lurkers trying to make progress elsewhere. We're going to scan a few down this ramp. And you see, that's the sort of Lurker position I think you can fight into. Well, then he gets flanked from the right-hand side, so Rogue's going to start taking a good fight from this. HeroMarine, I think, correctly decides, right, time to get out of there, disengage, and lift up, get out, reset a little bit. But it feels like HeroMarine's lost all of the momentum that he once had in this game. It's no longer that kind of a game any longer, right? It's heading into a very different sort of direction. Liberator Siege is up, the Lurker's still around the right side. I'm just going to be seeing Viper's now starting up as well. These Lurkers on the low ground going to burrow, and oh, they didn't have high ground vision. I was like, man, surely these bio units still just die, though. And no, they do not. If you don't have high ground vision, you can't shoot. So, yeah, saved by the lack of high ground vision. The Overseers were trailing behind, and that keeps HeroMarine from taking serious damage there. Lurker's still taking a couple of extra shots, as they do sit behind this, well, ledges still, and just trying to find their opportunity to shoot, and now going to start getting some SCVs. I think this is the point in the game where HeroMarine starts regretting not going Ghost. At this point, it's too far gone almost, and I think you're so committed to the high tank count. He is going to start building some Ghost, but he could have gone Ghost a long time ago, and he really did just decide not to go Ghost, right? Like, that was a conscious decision where he put down extra factories, didn't build the Ghost Academy, and now he's going to start going Ghost when it's just too late. These Lurkers are already just way too good, and just in too many places. I feel like HeroMarine kind of killed himself here. I feel like HeroMarine kind of killed himself. Viper's going to abduct a couple of tanks forward, and they will get denied. So, killed off from the high ground. Even a Knight is on the way up now from... Oh, no! That's not good. I imagine 5 extra tanks might have helped a little bit. Those Banelings are still there from earlier, by the way. Finally just getting shot at by a tank as splash damage comes through. The Lings trying to make their way into this mineral line. A lot of SCVs going down. HeroMarine's going to type GG. My goodness, Rogue brings it back from the brink of defeat. He was not in a good position at all. But HeroMarine is just... He just doesn't go Ghosts, I feel like was what we have to say. Yeah, HeroMarine definitely has some good opportunities there, but couldn't capitalize, couldn't close it out, and Rogue takes the first map of the day for Team WTL. It is going to be HeroMarine's map pick now, so he is going to choose Curious Minds for this map number 2. He's going to be setting up for that and see if the shorter map can maybe make the difference. Big prize pool here today, guys. Big prize pool. It's $8,000 up top for the winning team and $4,700 for the losing team. So each player is going to walk home with at least $1.2k or thereabouts. But if you win, obviously that's about $3,000 more, just split across 4 players. So if you win, it's about a $750 bonus. Either way, you're getting paid well for being here today to show up and to play some good games, and I'm sure that motivates the guys into showing us some, like I say, some stellar StarCraft and some fun matches. Alright, well, let's get this underway. This is going to be seen our Overlord starting to head across to the bottom side of the map here. Curious Mind, shortest map in the map pool. Rogue spawns top left and HeroMarine spawns bottom right. Again, Rogue just doing Rogue things, surviving when he shouldn't, and taking some good fights. Love the burrowed, not the burrows, all lurkers are usually burrowed when they're good. The whole position lurkers on that right side, that was really cute. Just one of those things that, again, just stopped some of the pressure that was coming at you, so... yeah, just a few things that were pretty neat and, you know, overall in that game. See what happens here. As we continue onwards. I see a lot of people asking about the match schedule. After this, we have Showtime versus Time. And then after Showtime time, it is Maru versus Serral. So Maru Serral is indeed on the way, guys. That will be maps 7 and 8 of this best of 9. This is map 4, so that's where we currently stand. Just in case you're trying to figure out when to be here for Maru versus Serral. You only have so much time to commit to StarCraft today. I understand it features Maru Serral over all else. Saber is going to start fighting. Drone going to go down. Actually, nice to get a drone kill early, so already a little bit of a victory on that one. Nice initial catch, as we just see coming back up. Ling gets chased away. And the Lings continue to take a little bit of additional damage there too, so damage continues out so far. Triple CC, our build order once more here, so HeroMarine very much so just sticking to that macro-focused opener. Doesn't feel the need to do anything too different at all. We're really arguing that the prize money isn't good. Guys, when the prize money is $8,000 for a winning team and it's like a best of 9, it's pretty freaking good. Let's be realistic over here. I know we're no StarCraft. I know we're no well we are StarCraft too. I know we're no CS:GO or Dota or anything, but I mean, let's be realistic. I mean, considering for each player you show up and you play 2 maps and you're guaranteed at least $1,000, I'm gonna go ahead and say that's pretty good money per hour. That's over $1,000 per hour usually, unless you play some very long games. So yeah, I feel like even for losing, the money's pretty freaking good. So let's not be ridiculous. Just no appeasing some people, right? Like, you're not giving out $1 million prize pool like in the CS:GO and League of Legends. Like, okay, we're not League of Legends, CS:GO, or Dota 2. That doesn't mean we can't say something's a good prize pool for what we have. Like, you know what? I think it's disgusting that those $1 million prize pools don't play out $1 million per player. Why don't they? Why isn't a $5 million prize pool? You know, $6 million so you can play the coach $1 million and each player $1 million because it's a team game. Yeah? Huh? What do you guys think of that? Yeah? See, I don't even think CS:GO gives out good ones. See, it's just dumb. Why would we argue like this, guys? Can't we just enjoy the fact we have like a freaking $13,000 show match in StarCraft 2? Be hard pressed to find a show match like that. This game usually. Hellions fighting, Queen's taking some damage. And we just do have the Hellions moving around. Cloak and Banshees all on the way up. Stimpack coming through. And just going to be having a couple of additional racks. Also coming out right now, a couple of gases being brought on in. And those evolution chambers from Rogue setting up on the front. Well, plenty of droning. Of course, getting the Evo chambers up. Going to be a slight lead, perhaps, for Rogue on the upgrades. In a very minor way, it would seem. So, watching out for that, as otherwise we continue through. All the upgrades just building, family nest, lair. Later lair does make dealing with these banshees a bit tougher, because obviously you're limited by the spore crawlers for detection. So, if you only have the spore crawlers for detection, you're going to be just, I guess, a little bit worse for wear than usual. The spore crawler well positioned here just to mean that the banshees can't do much more than chip at the edge. The queens can get some damage onto them. That's just going to help deny this initial push in from the banshees. Lings continue to take some damage. Oh, loses a Banshee up on the top side. The Queen's just able to catch that, so nice little kill there as our Marines from HeroMarine continue across the map. They are going to continue along, going to go via this watchtower and, well, have their chance to now make something else happen here, I imagine. Keep Genas continue to be picked away at, just going to be seeing our Queens coming to the front, going to have our Baneling Nest. Getting that Baneling speed up and rolling. Hellions and Marines around the right side. Just going to have an Ovi. Gets picked off. Rogue will be supply blocked. I mean, he's building 4 more Overlords. He's obviously very aware of it ahead of time. Still not be in a major way. Hellions want to get involved still. They're trying to find their chance to be included. Well, and counterattack. Not going to do all that hard. I mean, 3 SCVs. It's not bad, but of course if you're losing units it can be a problem. You can see HeroMarine right now about to have 1-1 on combat shields, and look at the army supplies, 80-ish to 50. He's got a good amount of units right here. HeroMarine could do a lot with this attack. He needs to have the upgrades. Obviously, do not fight without 1-1, and you really shouldn't be fighting without combat shield either, let's be realistic. So, needs those. These Banes are going to waddle in over here, but HeroMarine sees it, pulls the SCVs in time. Obviously, no Bane speed makes this a little bit worse for wear. He's actually just going to burrow those. I like that, because if HeroMarine is now paying attention elsewhere, it's very possible. Oh, that's a bit of an issue. Oh, no. He didn't notice that those Banelings burrowed up in that mineral line, and this is going to be an actual... It is going to... I don't even think you explode them. I think you just unburrow them. We'll see that in a moment or two right now. This fight probably is the most important thing as Rogue runs forward here. Those STVs are going to be there no matter what, whenever Rogue wants to go and get them. Okay, Rogue, now surely we're going to go back and think about those Banelings, right? Blows up a couple, unburrows the other 2, just maximize the damage. 15 SCVs dead, and HeroMarine takes a heavy eco hit while not being able to push through on the top right side of the map. Marines send back through. The Queen, the Creep Team is going down. Hellbat in the front, and the Banelings do connect in. Going to be seeing our Marines continuing along. Our Lane Bane on the top side clearing up. Marines over here going to continue to fight, and just going to be seeing this creep spread being pushed back. Going to get this Overlord. The creep continuing to go down at the moment. I'm just going to be seeing our Banshee sat here. Oh, killing drones. There's no detection. Spore Crawler only just starting on that base. Well, the drone's burrowed, and if HeroMarine realized he could scan and just get a bunch of drone kills, said he'll just sit here and shoot his way through the Spore Crawler, so... maybe could have been a little bit more exciting, perhaps. Honestly, there was still potential to just get a good amount of work kills on this, so a little bit sad that we don't see it. As Lings are going to attack again into this bottom side of the map, so in they go. This run-by is actually going to be a little bit more successful, so now HeroMarine really does continue to lose out on a good amount of units. Repeatedly, he needs to lift up that orbital, which he does do. He's got Bane. No! Again, just a bit of a mistake. He wanted the hatchery so bad, he lifted a little late, and he lost a lot more units than maybe necessary there. As he does get back to his watchtower, that hatchery is so low. Bane is hanging up to the top. We do see the few units just going to take the watchtower. HeroMarine continuing up there as well. As we move past the watchtower, we've got ourselves Banelings on the counterattack one more time. These Banelings go down. There's not going to be a lot of Banelings ready to go here. Maybe some potential for HeroMarine, but the supplies have completely swapped from what they used to be. 180 to 130, favoring Rogue. We're going to run into this. The tank's not going to survive. The Marines could maybe lift into the medevacs. Let's look up a little bit, actually see where the units are. There's so many medevacs involved, by the way. It's actually kind of wild just how many medevacs are in the game at the moment. 8 drones going down. Just going to be seeing these medevacs continue to be chased away. It looks as though this is just going to be game over because Rogue just has a little bit too much right here, guys. There's not really any way to stop this. GG's. Rogue gets the 2-0 over HeroMarine, and he will take Team League, Team WTL, to a tied up position from being 0-2 down. HeroMarine was ahead in game 1, was ahead in game 2. Just trouble closing these games out against Rogue, which, to be fair, a lot of people have trouble with. In we go, is in the bottom left-hand corner of this WTL versus the World series. It is going to be Showtime in the bottom left. Our red Protoss player taking on the blue Terran in the top right time. I'm sure they'll show the players in a moment. 2-game series. These guys play 2 maps against each other. The score adds up into the overall best of 9, which is currently 2-2 between WTL and the World. And just one more time, just to say, just in case this is the start of a new YouTube video or so, there is no game sounds today because we're casting off the Chinese feed. There's no clean feed today. We were not meant to be able to broadcast this event. Our Chinese contact worked effortlessly and tirelessly. No, not effortlessly. Worked relentlessly. That's the word I think I want. To make sure we would have as good a quality as we could have without getting official permission or help from the from the actual organizers, and we were able to at least get a direct feed of the Chinese stream, so we don't have all the Chinese ads on, and we don't have all the Chinese, like, it's just better quality video-wise, but it still has the Chinese commentary, and so that's the best we can do. So obviously no game sounds because of that, apologies, but there's not much else we can do about it. Probe is trying to block the command center as long as possible here to be annoying early. No engineering bay block early in this game. Showtime is able to get his expansion down over on the natural. So that's nice because you do see a lot of the Terran players in this day and age are repeatedly playing for engineering bay blocks. Like, there is absolutely no love lost trying to get that engineering bay block repeatedly from Terran players. So time is going to let Showtime just expand this time. Like I say, that's fairly intriguing. It's not the craziest thing either, just being like, oh yeah, if you want to just, you know, get your base up, right? But I think there's sometimes something to be said about it. We'll see what build time wants to go for here, as Showtime just shows us a straight-up Twilight Council, so nothing weird at all from Showtime. In fact, pretty much exactly what you expect at the moment as the CC sets up in the main base. Adept just shading all the way out across the map. CC's coming through, and yeah, just gonna be 3 CCs. So obviously, it's kind of funny because we just came out of TVZ, so in a way, I'm like, oh well, you know, 3 CC is normal. But obviously in TVP, 3 CC is not quite as normal. So that's actually maybe a bit more of an intriguing factor as this Adept tries to get up to that high ground again. A couple more Marines just popping out. The bunker still coming through. And that blink upgrade coming in on the side of Showtime as well, as we've previously mentioned. That continues up at the moment. Well, that single Adept will head on out and just go and keep on trying to pick up a bit of information here and there. A couple of additional SCVs coming through. The blink is on the way in. Just going to be seeing our warp gates going to be completing shortly. And overall, just pretty standard stuff. Later, Robo looks like Showtime's pretty set to take a 3rd base. Everyone's just in a pretty comfortable position here so far. That's going to have our robo finishing up at the front then. Again, that stim pack still coming through. Orbital command's about to complete. We do have an extra racks on the way in as well, so that's the third barracks now starting to build. Factory is also coming online. So it's pretty quick 3 racks, right? Obviously it's on the back of a third CC, so not too surprising maybe to bypass the starport, just get as many units as possible initially and just sort of, start pumping out units to be in as good a position as you can be. Stim is coming up to being about halfway done. Engineering bay about to finish. And just a couple mules mining away. One our natural. Showtime not aggressive at all with the stalkers either, by the way. It's kind of interesting to see him be so passive with that, actually. No, Blink is done, and only just now is he going to start taking a few of them onto the map. Obviously, it's not like a super high stalker count. You can see Time is a little afraid of what's going on. He's afraid of potential DTs, so we'll invest into the turret and the mineral line. Good news from Showtime. That's money wasted from Time. That's obviously just not necessary here, so nice to just be able to pick that up. He's actually got a scan on the observer, so I believe that observer goes down, and that's a nice catch. Showtime continuing into Templar Archives and Charge, plus his initial forge of the game as well. So it's going to start moving into just this gateway heavy force, something that we do see a reasonable amount of the time. And we've seen a couple tanks moving out with Marines here, and the Stalkers try to slow it down initially. And I mean, they do slow it down, just it's not going to be stopped completely unless he just wants to take the third base position, in which case he was never really going to come all the way across the map anyway. And it looks like it's the case. He was just moving out to that third location, so just going to protect the third base position here. And then we can work forward from there. Seven extra gates still coming through, and obviously Showtime playing this gateway heavy style, you need a lot of gateways for that, because everything you have comes out of a gateway. You know, the High Templars come out of a gateway, the Charge Lots and Stalkers come out of a gateway. It's not like you're playing a Colossus style where the Colossi come out of a Robo facility and then, everything else comes out of a gateway. So yeah, just having a lot of gateways, pretty much essential with a style like this. The Warp Prism's coming up, that one's going to take the High Templar inside of it, and with the High Templar inside, the Warp Prism will make a move around, and I'm sure we'll have a bit of fun as the Stalkers. That was an interesting blink forward there. I don't think that was intentional for Showtime. I think he tried to maybe blink back and he just clicked wrong in the dead airspace, and maybe that blinked him to the top instead of the left. Either way, just gets a siege tank, which is the important thing to note. Just shutting down that tank count a little bit because it's getting kind of high from Time. I mean, tanks against a lot of Zealots, which is likely what Showtime will build from here, plus that Storm is not going to be amazing, but can still be scary given the right position. I like the tanks a lot more if you're playing against Colossi or so, but yeah. See what happens as our bunker sets up. It's going to be finishing in a few moments' time. A couple extra High Templar coming in. The +1 armor is building on the Forge. And Showtime is coming across the map. At the very least, he's going to poke around here, see if there's some damage to be done over the next few moments. Let's find out. Get a little bit more of a warping coming through there as well. I'm just going to be seeing this army up around the top side. Is actually just out of position here a little bit now. The tanks are on siege as we blink in with this as well. We do have Storm. I think Showtime was kind of like, well, where am I actually meant to storm here? He gets a beautiful Storm off in the mineral line, hits a lot of SCVs, and Time supply plummets immediately. Just A, not siege, B, units out on the left side, and well, the Storm really did just hit well. The SCVs kind of naturally clumped up as we continued through there. That's a pretty big factor as 21 pro SCVs are dead, and coming out of this, Showtime should be feeling pretty good. You deal that amount of eco damage early in the game, you are having a fantastic time. You are running away with this a little bit. So let's see. I mean, switches it to a Robo Bay in a second facility now as well. So Showtime has a transition readying for himself at the moment. Let's move over the left-hand side. Battery will heal, and an additional Archon finishes up. Yeah, I still like what Showtime has, and it's only going to get better with the RoboBay. I think we do just go Colossi first. Don't think you need Disruptors when you already have Storm. I always say this, but I do feel like Disruptors and Storm really have an overlapping kind of set of skills, where they just kind of, basically force the Terran to push back and reposition and not be in a certain place at a certain time, meaning that they lose damage output time in the fight. Showtime coming up, looking to deny the 4th base. Looks like we might just have a straight up next fight along here as the Zealots come charging through. The Stalkers get to the front. Storm's going down. Prism gets shot down. I believe only 2 of the 3 High Templar got out of that Prism. Does it even matter? These Archons are looking unkillable. The Marines and Marauders are low HP already. Showtime will back it up from the bunker, but I think he does just have a little bit too much right now. And Showtime perhaps giving us the most convincing game of today, as he's just been in control. I mean, it was a very macro-focused opening. Nothing really happened too early. But since Showtime went for that first attack on the right side, he just got a lot done. And one Widowmine shot here gets a Stalker. Doesn't even retarget onto the Archon for maybe maximum damage. As we just go through, Stalkers continue to fight, and the Zealots working through this. A lot of SCVs going down. Nice Storm on the ramp again. Going to clip a whole bunch of those SCVs as they run on through. And you're basically forced to fight down a ramp into this Protoss army now, because otherwise you're losing your natural expansion. In fact, that natural CC is already dead as time tries to defend it unsuccessfully. Showtime once again just takes a step backwards. He's already got more units coming in from across the map, because he doesn't have a Warp Prism here any longer. And with those joining up, he might have another attempted push in, this time maybe to the 3rd base. Looks like he's at least going to rotate around toward the front of the 3rd base rather than going in from the Terran side. And just engaging here, a lot of SimCity and stuff, an empty bunker, but nothing that's really going to stop Showtime from really being having a good time in this. I'm just going to be seeing the results continue to charge on through. Blink on forward. A Viking goes down. GG from time. And Showtime is going to take the first map here and is going to put Team World back into the lead of this best of 9. 3-2 now. Well, here we go. Next map along. Let's see if time. His map pick, Berlingrad, great for dropping. Shorter rush distance for some of your attacks. Let's see if time can make it happen. Take a map here, but obviously put it 3-3 going into Maru versus Serral for maps number 7 and 8. And I do think that is the most exciting possibility, but it's also be cool to see Showtime just come out and show a bit of dominance as well, right? I'm kind of down for whatever. And down for it being close. For me, I'm already happy that at least that first game of Maru Serral will have the potential to be competitive in terms of just, it doesn't, the series isn't already over, right? So definitely a factor. As we do see our probe, just going to move on to the map. It's going to go around just checking proxy locations initially, so just trying to be sure of what's potentially going on there. Just wants to know what's happening. So yeah, some expected movement so far. Nice little opening. Just making sure. I mean, Tam is one of these players who will proxy you a lot as well, so definitely I think worth checking for. I mean, it's just very heavy in the Terran meta right now also. It's not just time. All of the Terran players are playing like that. Probe nibbling up on the high ground as the Reaper is on the way out, so you can sit here for a little while at Showtime. This is actually going to be a factory before an expansion, so that is going to be a more intriguing part of this. A factory before expand, definitely a little bit different, like I say. Let's see, a 2nd and 3rd racks as well. Wow, full on 1 base all in from time then. It's tough for Showtime because when you get walled out like that, yeah, you can be suspicious of something going on, but it's not a guarantee that something is going on. It could just be an expansion in the main. And then if you overcommit defensively, then you're defending against an expand. It's not great for you. He is going to build a battery early. He's going to get a Stargate going. He needs to figure out what this is ASAP, otherwise you will be in some pretty serious trouble in this scenario. This is not something which is easy to get out of when it's a 1 base commitment from time. So time, again, looking to strike hard and strike fast. Get this up and underway. Well, tech labs coming through. I imagine the plan becomes to get this into stim and combat shields for your attack as well. I'd be surprised if it was anything too far different to that. There's our first Oracle coming up. Showtime obviously desperate to see what's happening inside that base. He's got absolutely no information regarding that just now, so really is desperate to get in there, see what's going on. The Stimpack coming through, the Oracle and the Adept on the way out. And just going to be seeing, well, this just getting settled down. Waiting for the big attack of time to come on through. This Oracle at least will give Showtime the information. When Showtime sees this, what do we go into? I think you've got to just go for a Robo ASAP. Try and get an Immortal out maybe, and just, especially just extra gateways, that's for sure. You just need as many units as possible. I mean, the Oracles kind of feel not so great in this scenario either. Move in, we're going to see this is Stim, it's still no expansion. So Showtime knows what's up. He's going to add one more battery as well, so obviously additional defense. He adds on extra gates. I said a Robo. I do kind of think maybe a Robo would be nice, but maybe just too late, right? Starts up a Void Ray instead. Actually, okay, I like that a lot more because it's more immediately useful. It's cute stasis ward positioning just on this high ground. Likely to see that position be broken into. There's a single SCV with this army. Okay, there are a couple others, so you can break through that mineral wall and get up that ramp in that way. And if you do that and that stasis ward catches, it's actually going to be pretty nice. And it has a little bit of coverage on the left side of that, on the top side of this ramp as well, so pulls a potential there as the Adepts grab the first SCV moving forward, so Showtime bit of free damage already. Able to clean up one unit to begin with, and the tank fire already starting to come on through. The Oracles are going to counterattack, so Showtime's just looking to clean out SCVs and really slow down, put a real dampener on this for his opponents. Obviously, the less that his opponent can build up behind this, the less units come across the map, and the better of a time you're going to have, the less you have to deal with further down the line. So Showtime really thinking about the future. His gates at the front in a little bit of trouble. I don't think that's a bad thing. That's fine for now. You can lose a gateway or so here. He will heal it up and buy a bit more time for himself. As Showtime almost looked like he was going to go there. 6 SCVs left on the map from time. Showtime, funnily enough, with all the times being thrown around in their names, Showtime has time on his side. If he just waits, he's going to play. He's getting more and more up here compared to the 4 SCV time. He is extremely limited in what he can do at this stage. He's Adepts threatening to shade forward again, right? And just trying to say, hey, look, you know, we can shade forward at any point, jump on you, and maybe create the fight. When do you go here? Is Showtime. He's supply blocked now. I feel like now is better than any other time, right? Because you got this point where these batteries are dying. So now you don't have batteries to help you in this fight. Your natural expansion starts to die. I mean, do you need to defend the natural? Maybe not, right? Because think about it. Time is on literally 0 SCVs. He does not have an economy at the moment. As the Void Ray is left to fight there, they will go down. Showtime just gives up the natural. So yeah, he doesn't need to defend the natural. I'm still a little worried for him. I mean, especially now he just lost his Void Rays. So he doesn't have anything to really try and snag the siege tanks with at all. So it's going to be a bit of a problem. 4 tanks here especially. I mean, now these Marines can stim forward and leave the tanks alone as well. Showtime will have the Oracles coming back in from the top side. They're going to start activating on the siege tanks now. That's why these Marines pull back. Remember, every time that these Marines stim, you can see the Oracles just finishing off that siege tank there. Observer didn't show it, but I saw it on the minimap, guys. Don't you worry. Yeah, these Oracles are going to be annoying. They're kind of filling the role of what the Void Rays maybe should have been doing. Is now there's not going to be too much tank fire remaining. We're going to split up a little bit. 1 tank left on the low ground. Does still go down. Man, the tank fire was massive, and these Marines are just such low HP. This is it. Showtime only has the probes left over. The tank. Oh, the friendly fire on the tank was actually pretty huge. Showtime's going to type GG, and time gets it done with a very close attack. That was very close, actually. That could have gone another way for sure. Very close game. It's going to be 3-3, guys. Tied up once again. And we have got Maru versus Cyril up next. I know you guys are excited.